Meanwhile, the race is on for the win here. So we've got 9 laps to go. Palmer 0.8 of a second away from Trappett. So I guess, as Patasso and Palmer would say in the F2 commentary, it's time to place those bets with the Monopoly money. Who has everyone got their Monopoly money on to take the race win? Palmer looking to the outside at the chase. Used a little bit of overtake there to try and make the move. Certainly weaving around, trying to get the job done on Trappett. Bit of a slower exit there from Trappett. Palmer looking to the outside. Time is almost irrelevant now. As Palmer makes the move on Trappett, sweeps into the lead. And now it's going to be up to Palmer to just build that gap through the next few corners. He certainly doesn't have the overtake compared to Trappett. Trappett might be able to come back at him. But Palmer out to a second lead already. As we head across the skyline through the S's, it's going to be crucial for Palmer to build that gap, as Trappett now has the overtake to use. And you can bet that he's going to use every bit of it towards the end of this race to try and take the lead back. Though Trappett's got some damage, so that's going to compromise his straight line speed. He's still using as much of that overtake as possible, trying to keep himself in this race. So this is probably the section of the track where Palmer's going to have to build up a gap as much as possible. It's where the handling of his car will be much superior to that of Trappett's. Meanwhile, Trappett will just have to use as much of that overtake as he can, try and keep himself within touching distance, hope that he can get close enough to make a move down the straight as he just makes a little bit more contact again. Exiting the dipper. He's still just staying close enough. But Palmer's certainly doing just enough to hang on. And Trappett's gone off. He's off into the grass. And he's called time there, so he's jumped into the pits. So you would imagine that that's the end of his challenge. And Trappett heads to pit lane. He'll be making repairs, probably a tyre change as well. And that has now just put Palmer in the prime position to take the win here in the Australian Grand Prix. So Trappett coming out in 5th place. 12 seconds back on O'Shea. And certainly an anticlimactic conclusion. He's definitely looking forward to a great battle between Trappett and Palmer in those closing laps. But O'Shea now hunting down Walker for that third place, final spot on the podium. He's very much pushing hard for that spot. It would certainly be a well-deserved result for Walker, but I don't think it's going to be. It's certainly not going to be on the podium at this stage. Especially as O'Shea just made the move past into third place. So Walker still has all of his overtakes, surprisingly. I wonder if he has the button keyed up. Maybe there's an issue with his steering wheel. It hasn't allowed him to use the overtake, but that is impressive that he's managed to end up in that position without even using the overtake all race. And he's certainly not going away in this battle with O'Shea. So the gap between Palmer and Patasso out to 9 seconds. Patasso, damage of his own. Looks like Patasso carrying on. He's certainly sitting comfortable there in second place. Definitely looks to be cruising around, lapping at a good pace. In that case, there's definitely not a need to jump into pit lane. So O'Shea holding on to third place here. Just being shadowed by Walker. Walker looked like he got into the wall. Might just be a bit of network issues. Playing a bit of tricks on us here. He's brought that gap down to under half a second. Of course, under 5 laps to go, no more safety cars, just as Kaizen mentions in the comment section. So we're now actually at 4 laps to go, probably 3 now, nearly 3, as Palmer heads around Murray's corner for the 37th time in this race. He now crosses over, 3 laps to go. 10-second lead for Palmer. Drafted in at the last minute as a reserve driver. Blackman unfortunately feeling unwell. We hope he's feeling better soon. We can see him back in action. Run through the order a bit. Of course, we know Palmer, Patasso, O'Shea, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, Walker in 4th, Trappett in 5th. Bit more of a quiet race here for Von Duve and Nando. Von Duve, of course, having that incident at the elbow. Nando getting into his own incident as well earlier on. So WTC racing car sitting 6th and 7th. Good little point tool there for the new team on the block. And they'll probably hold on to 2nd place in the standings. Calypso sitting in a nice 8th place. Certainly the Belgian putting in a great effort here in the Australian Grand Prix, up against an onslaught of Australians who I'd say majority of them all love this track. So he's certainly put in an impressive performance there to sit in 8th place. Harcourt sitting in 9th. Just a second and a half back from Calypso. He's the meat in an Isla Esports sandwich there. With Kosterok rounding out the top 10. Just a couple of seconds further back. He'd be very keen to make up an extra spot here in the closing laps if he could. Then we go to 11th place. It's Campbell. The American, probably the first car a lap down, just pulling off to the side to let his teammate O'Shea past. And of course Walker as well. In 12th place it's Brader. He started on pole, hasn't really had the race pace though. He's only been in the pits a few laps ago. And then Oldman running out the field in 13th. Looks like he's a couple of laps down. Palmer still out to a 12.5 second lead as he heads towards starting the final lap. Probably the closest battle on track at the moment between O'Shea and Walker. Oh, that's just dropped out to 1.3 seconds and growing. Very much possibility that Walker could be tight on fuel here. That could be the explanation between his pace dropping off down Conrod Straight. So we head on to the final lap. Doesn't look like Walker quite has enough to get a move done. That said, if he used the overtake that was available to him, that could be a different story. Someone's off the track there. That's Oldman, parked on the run up to the cutting. So Palmer making the run down to Forest Elbow for the last time. Last minute replacement, first appearance for the season in the 2023 Formula Trackstar Series. Very much taking on the Formula 2 Series this season. Aiming for a result there, was stepping back from the Formula racing and making the Touring Car Series his focus a bit later on in the year. He might be regretting this move at the moment though, as he heads to Murray's Corner for the last time, rounds the final corner, and it's going to be Palmer who takes the win in the Australian Grand Prix. With a brilliant comeback drive from the early damage. He'll claim the win, looks like by nearly 16 seconds. It's going to be over 16 seconds by the looks of things. Pitarso comes across the line for second. A bit of front wing damage there. And O'Shea rounding out the podium spot in third place. And in the end it was just 0.4 of a second between himself and Walker, who just narrowly misses out on what would have been a well-deserved podium finish in fourth place. Trappett crossing the line in fifth place, so his winning streak comes to an end. After winning the first three races of the championship was certainly putting the pressure on Palmer there towards the end, but just a mistake on his end cost him dearly and dropped him down to 5th place. Ando making the jump over his teammate Von Duve to take 6th place. And then Harcourt coming around. So we Harcourt taking 8th. Costa Rock looks like he could be out of fuel here. Maybe just going for a bit of a form finish. So Costa Rock and Calypso in 9th and 10th. And then it's Campbell in 11th, Brader in 12th, Oldman in 13th. And then we finally have Lansdell in the safety car coming around to finish off his race. So there we go, 40 laps of Bathurst for the Australian Grand Prix. All done and dusted. And a very entertaining race in the end, as we had a number of cars jumping up and down the order across the race. In the end it was Palmer for It's Racing Esports taking the win. Patasso coming home in 2nd place. Then we had O'Shea, Walker, Trappett, Ando, Von Duve and Harcourt rounding out your top 8 on the first page of the screen. And then jumping across to the 2nd page, it's Costa Rock in 9th, Calypso rounding out top 10, so 2 ISA Esports cars in the top 10. And then rounding out the rest of the field, a lap down it's Campbell, Brader, and then 2 laps down it's Oldman. Good evening everyone, welcome to round number 5 of the 2023 Formula Track Stars Series. We are live here tonight from the Catalunya circuit here in Spain, of course, for the Spanish Grand Prix. And of course, a very popular decision amongst the drivers coming from the organisers for this round. We have removed the final chicane from this layout for this time around. Certainly a decision that has proved very popular amongst all the drivers. There's a number of drivers currently going through their paces, completing their final practice laps, as we will get set to go qualifying in just a few moments. Once we get our field lined up, everybody into the room, and all organised will go qualifying for this race. 53 laps of the Circuit de Catalunya tonight. Of course, at the moment we're on screen as current series leader in Trappett, representing Mash Spuds Racing in number 45. And he currently holds a 110 point lead over his teammate Pitasso. Pitasso, of course, a two-time champion of the Formula Track Stars Series in 2020 and 2021. And then another 14 points back from Pitasso is O'Shea, representing CP Motorsports. So of course, with the two MSR drivers 1-2 in the championship standings, you can obviously assume that would mean that the Mash Spuds Racing team is of course on top of the constructors or team championship standings at this point of the championship, holding a very comfortable lead so far, approaching nearly 300 points, which is of course what you get for a race win here. As we've just got a black screen, looks like we've had a bit of a disconnect here. Not sure if that's on my end or whether it's been on the lobby host end. So yeah, just bear with us for a few moments as we try and get ourselves back into a lobby. Alright, looks like we're back in business here. We'll just get all drivers back into the lobby, and then we should be getting qualifying underway very shortly. Go give you a quick run through of the entry list. Try and sort of do this team by team as best as I possibly can. So first up on the screen, of course, Shepherd and the number 95 It's Racing Esports Honda. And this time around, Palmer returns for another cameo in place of Blackman. Of course, Palmer taking win last time out at Bathurst. Then it's Ando and Von Duve in the WTC's racing cars. It looks like qualifying quickly beginning. So we'll head out on track. So of course, Palmer and Shepherd representing It's Racing Esports. Then we have Ando in the 787 for WTC Racing. Costa Rock in the number 55 representing the Intercontinental Esports Racing Group. And it looks like we've got a red flag already. So not exactly sure what the red flag was for. We've got cars heading back to the pits. Looks like we'll do a bit of a reset and get things underway again. Looks like everyone's dropping out of the lobby, so it could be on for another lobby reset here. And there's confirmation from Palmer, who's acting as our room host tonight. In the meantime, while we're loading up, definitely keen to hear some comments from anyone watching along. Let us know where you're watching from, who your pick is to win tonight. Which team you're supporting. Of course, we've got Crashed Again 69. Wishing everyone a good race. So far, the only comment we've got in the stream. So cars are out on track for qualifying. Hopefully third time around we're a bit more lucky. So we've got Palmer leading the field out. We'll try and get through this as well as possible. Not sure what's going on here. So at the moment we've got Shepherd in front in the number 95, Trappett in the 45 for MSR, Calypso in the 666 for ISA, Patasso in the 32, O'Shea in the 50, representing CP Motorsports. Von Duvet, trying to remember what car he is, 117, that's alright, for WTC Racing. And don't think I have the information on hand for, definitely know the last name isn't Chris. I think it's Burke actually in the number 20. So he's a reserve driver filling in. It's usually Brader, the Dutchman, who takes on that car for Robbo Sport Racing. But this time around, it's Burke instead filling in. Of course, got Palmer halfway through his flying lap. Ando in the pits, Costa Rock in the pits. Walker had a great performance last time out, 4th place at Bathurst. He'll be looking to keep that form going. And then we've got Oldman in 12th at the moment on his lap. And then we have Harcourt and Campbell rounding out our field. First lap times coming in. Shepherd at the top of the table so far. 120.2, Trappett just 3 tenths behind. Then it's Patasso, Ando, O'Shea, and then Palmer with Costa Rock and Von Duvet. See who we've got coming around. We've got Calypso coming around to complete his lap. Looks like we've got a very glitchy room at the moment. I'd have to just look at a few things, see how it goes. So Calypso crossing the line in 12th. Campbell goes to second place, just 1/10 off of Shepherd. So a great lap there from him. Let's have a look and see Shepherd coming around to complete a second lap. So Shepherd goes faster again, a 1:19.715. Patasso jumps up the third. O'Shea now to the top of the timesheets with a 19.4. Let's see who else is coming around. Got Campbell, Ando. I think that's a glitch there. Palmer coming around to start a flying lap. Now Campbell to the top with a 19.3. Have a look who is up ahead of Trappett. Yeah, that was Shepherd, I think, that was up ahead. So Shepherd into the pits, Trappett into the pits. Ando physically in the pits at the moment. We'll see if that glitch can disappear. Bonduve jumps up the 7th. Palmer on a flying lap. Let's see what Palmer can achieve this time around. So 21.9, stays in 7th place. Calypso make an improvement. There's a gaggle of cars coming out of the pits at the moment. Very much peak hour traffic through turns 1 to 3 at the moment. But Shepherd, Trappett, Patasso, Costarock, O'Shea, all on the track at the moment in the one location. Calypso there as well. Costarock obviously not on a flying lap, so he's sitting back. Old man in amongst this group. Walker a bit further back, getting in some clean air, so that's a good move there from him. Let's see who the best one to follow along with. I believe it's Campbell. We'll follow along with Campbell here. So he runs a bit wide, heading into the turn 10 hairpin. So he's definitely getting out of that lap. See what Ando is a 10th up on his time. So heads around 12, turn 13 now, through the sweeping final corner. We'll head across the finish line. What does he have? He jumps up the 6th place. Well, sorry, remains in 6th. Bonduve remains in 7th. Shepherd pushing hard to improve his lap time. Doesn't go faster. What does Trappett have? Trappett doesn't have anything as well. Vitaso getting caught up there. O'Shea to the top of the timesheets now. So Vitaso's lap time is balked. Campbell coming around now, 1/10 of a second up on his personal best. Not quite fast enough to take pole. We will need a bit of an improvement in this final sector. As he comes around the final two corners now. Can Campbell make the jump up into pole position? Comes around the final corner. Yes, he does, by 0.06 of a second over his teammate. Along Palmer, half a second up. Ando coming across the line. He jumps up to 5th. And Duvet, next car around, and this will be his final lap by the looks of things as the clock ticks over the 10-minute mark. Duvet is not going to do it. Here comes Palmer for his final lap. What time can he produce? Stays in 7th. Shepherd only manages 4th. Trappett up into 3rd place. Pitasso coming around. He's probably one of the final few to be able to put down a time in the fight for pole position. He improves but only stays 5th. O'Shea only in 2nd place. And so that means that it looks like qualifying will head the way of the American Campbell. By the narrowest of margins over O'Shea. Series leader Trappett will be starting on the 2nd row in 3rd place. And joining him on that row will be Shepherd. Pitasso, not known as a great qualifier, so he'll be starting 5th, so he will remain a dark horse in this race. And we have Ando sitting in 6th, rounding out the 3rd row. Then it'll be Palmer and Von Duvet in row number 4. Then it'll be Costa Rock and Hardcourt in row number 5. Walker and then Burke in row number 6. And then on the back row of the grid will be Oldman and Calypso to round out the field. And your starting grid for tonight's Spanish Grand Prix here at Catalunya. So qualifying complete. Another quick rundown for everyone watching along at home, especially those who have only just joined us. Campbell and O'Shea completing a CP Motorsports front row lockout. Then it'll be Trappett and Shepherd. 3rd and 4th, Pitasso, Ando, Palmer and Von Duvet filling out the first page for our top 8. And we come across to the second page of the results. And then it's Costa Rock in 9th, Harcourt in 10th, Walker in 11th, Burke in 12th, Oldman in 13th, and Calypso running out the field. as we prepare ourselves to go racing now. "53 laps of the Circuit de Catalunya. Of course, this time around a no chicane layout. Much like we'll see in probably a month or so time as the Formula One circus heads to Spain. In the near future, they will be racing without chicane for the first time since 2007. Of course, Silvestro Severi in the comments section. Formula 2 driver for CB Motorsports, tuning in, watching along, cheering on his teammates as they've locked out the front row, and we'll be hoping that they can bring home a 1-2 finish as well, which would be very crucial for them in the battle for the team's championship. So finally got the field lined up here. Get all over the place. So we've got a bit of a different view of the race start from the looks of things. As we get ready to go racing, the Spanish Grand Prix is underway. It's like an interesting start there. Campbell and O'Shea look to be very evenly matched on the run down to turn 1. Pitasso on a good start, looking to the inside. As we stream into turn 1, Pitasso up into 3rd place, running side by side with Trappett. But it's Campbell who takes the lead through turns 1 and 2. Pitasso now settles into 3rd. As we've got a car into the wall, that looks like it's Ando. We'll grab a quick replay of that one. So it looks like he's just dropped into the runoff. Bit of dirty air wreaking havoc there. So Campbell leading the way on lap number 1 from O'Shea and Trappett. Tasso running in 4th, and then it's Palmer, Von Duve, and then Shepherd and Kosterok rounding out your top 8. So Campbell leading the field for lap number 1. So far a CP Motorsports 1-2. An MSR 3-4. Early days in this race though. Both CP cars running on mediums. Likewise for Trappett. Same for Pitasso. As well as Palmer and Von Duve is on the soft. So he's going for a faster strategy at the start. Shepherd also on the mediums as well. Looks like Palmer ran a little bit wide there, entering turn number 4. Certainly coming under pressure from Von Duve. He'll be looking to make early moves in this race and try and take full advantage of those soft tyres. Palmer running extremely wide there on the exit of turn 9. Von Duve not quite able to make the move though. And of course we've got Kaizentai joining us in the comment section. Safely parking the safety car into pit lane after lap number 1 of the race. Fingers crossed he won't need to make an appearance as we have a relatively clean race. But of course we know how safety cars can spice up the action a little bit. We'll look a bit further down the order. There's a battle for 8th. Starts to pick up a bit. Got Walker sitting in 9th, Harcourt in 10th. All over the back of Kosterok in 8th. As Walker and Harcourt run side by side. Harcourt gets the job done on the outside. And that just gives Kosterok a little bit of breathing space. On the medium tyres, got a bit of damage to the front and rear of his car. That'll be hampering his progress early on in this race. So Ando back in 14th, just on the back of Burke on that comeback drive. So both cars sitting fair way down the order, nearly a minute behind early on in this race, so they're in for a long afternoon. Ando's on the mediums, Burke on the hard, so Ando probably needs to get a move done here. Get ahead of Burke, start to continue that fight up the order again. Back up the front, 4 laps in. And it continues to be a CP Motorsports 1-2. And it Remains 2 by 2 with this EP Motorsports and MSR cars. Campbell just holding on to a 1.2 second lead over O'Shea. O'Shea absorbing some pressure there from Trappett. Certainly the dirtier air through probably turns 13 and 14, something to look out for. Car in clean air probably more easily able to run flat out through there, depending on the tyre and fuel loads. The following cars may have a bit more of a difficult time. Tasso just dropped off the back of Trappett in the last lap or two. Now 2 seconds behind as Trappett running extremely wide there through turn 3. Must have gotten into a bit of a dirty air. Battle for 5th place, remaining the same at the moment. Palmer just running a little wide there. Could that give Von Duve an opportunity to get ahead? Of course, sweeping through turn 9. Fast right-hander. Just bringing up a bit of that turbulent air. And really giving Palmer the breathing room that he needs to hold on to 5th place. Palmer running a bit wide there, really opening the door for Von Duve to get a run. Von Duve in the slipstream, pulls out, moves alongside, gets the job done before turn 1. So Von Duve up into 5th place. Palmer looks to be coming back at him a bit here. Although the dirty air through turn 3, putting paid to any ambitions that Palmer had of moving back into 5th place. Now Von Duve really using that grip in the soft tyres to try and stretch a margin. Palmer now under a bit of pressure here from Shepherd, his teammate. Could be a possible situation where they may have to switch positions. Possibly release Shepherd to try and push up the order a bit more. And of course, the team manager's hat on, probably refrain from using that as any kind of order. Just hope that they don't crash into each other like they did at Trial Mountain last year. As Shepherd has dropped off the back of Palmer just a little bit there. So a bit of a slow lap there from Trappett. Must have made a little bit of a mistake. 124 flat on lap number 5. And he's just dropped off the back, 3 seconds back from O'Shea. Although he is trying to make up that ground. So now that Von Duve has been released, I think he is gaining some ground here on Patasso. Just have a look, lap times between the two. Nah, Pitasso is still a tenth faster that time around. This field's starting to spread out a little bit more. So Burke already gone a lap down here. So not having a good run so far in the RoboSport Racing camp. On the positive side, at least Harcourt sitting in 8th place, holding the fort there for the team. Ando also a lap down already. So both drivers looking to be in for a long race here. As their night's just not going to plan so far. Costa Rock and Calypso 12th and 11th. Oldman and Walker in 9th and 10th. So the two WRT Motorsport cars inside the top 10. So it looks like a bit of an orchestrated move there from Shepherd and Palmer. As I think Palmer recognised Shepherd just closing up on the back. Decided at this stage of the race it might be better to let Shepherd go off ahead. Maybe try and see if he can bridge the gap to the cars in front. Maybe try and pick up a spot or two for the team's championship. Shepherd already making move up the field, really taking some time away from Vonduve. It's Vonduve really wearing out those soft tyres early on, especially on the right hand side. He's certainly fallen a bit further back from Pitasso. Pitasso just sitting 2 seconds back on his teammate Trappett. Trappett, of course, just set fastest lap a couple of laps ago. His margin still stays around 3 seconds. Two CP Motorsport drivers look to be in control of this race early on. Of course, Kaizen just mentioning some Easter eggs in the safety car, so he's certainly showing a bit more self-control than I did. Obviously made those Easter eggs last into the next week. Certainly know the Easter eggs I got didn't last till Tuesday night, I don't think. Of course, we have had a bit of a 2-week break. One of those weeks being for the Australian Grand Prix. And then the other week off, of course, being for Easter holidays. So you know that a number of drivers probably wouldn't make themselves available for those weekends. So it's definitely a good opportunity to recharge the batteries and get everyone set up for the stretch to the end of the series. So 12 laps in, roughly a quarter of the way through this race. Of course, all drivers required to run at least one set of either the medium or hard compound tyres. And one set of tyres needs to last at least 25% in the race. So a number of these drivers like Campbell, O'Shea, Trappett, Pitasso, Shepherd and Palmer will be getting that medium or hard tyre requirement out of the way and getting those 25% race distance also out of the way at the same time. So looking at about 14 laps, each driver needs to go on a set of tyres at least once. Once they complete that requirement, they could actually pit every lap if they really wanted to. Although it probably wouldn't be the fastest way around. So 2 CP cars remaining in control of this race. Got a 4-second gap over Trappett and Pitasso in 3rd and 4th. Onduve in 5th, now coming under a bit of pressure here from Shepherd. So Shepherd quickly bridging that gap between the two cars, between himself and Onduve. And probably that decision from Palmer to just cede position to his teammate has probably paid off at the moment. Of course, a fine comment there from Brian East, remembering a daily race at Bathurst on GT Sport, where the fastest way to actually run the race was to tour the pits every single lap. I do recall a few occasions in the early days of GT Sport where it was probably more beneficial to pit regularly. Suzuka being one of them. I think you only lost about 4 seconds per pit stop. So if you kept fresh tyres on board over a driver on worn tyres, you could easily make up some ground there. Shepherd getting closer to the back of Onduve at the moment. So lap 14 of the Spanish Grand Prix. If Shepherd can just hold on a bit through this dirty air in the final 2 corners of the lap, could get a great run onto the main straight, which I believe he's done so here. So Shepherd, great run into the slipstream, uses a bit of overtake, pulls alongside and comfortably gets ahead into turn 1. So I think we're reaching the point where those soft tyres for Onduve really screaming that they've had enough here. And I believe the WTCR racer will be looking for the pits very shortly. So Shepherd now up into the top 5. And the sights will now be firmly set on that duo from the Mass Buds Racing team in Pitasso and Trappett. Of course, it is a requirement that you must run 2 different compounds, so if Shepherd's starting on the medium tyre, along with the 4 cars in front, could pose an interesting question which way they go at the pit stops. Could you maybe go for a medium hard combination and one stop towards the end as Palmer in pit lane, just come out of pit lane there, so he's a lap down now. Looks like he's had an incident somewhere along the line. Probably should be paying a little bit more attention to the track map here. Possibly see if there's a few replay opportunities I can grab. Looks like I have missed a few incidents along the way. So Palmer a lap down, back into the situation he was a few laps ago, just in front of his teammate Shepherd. Of course, this time around at the blue flags, he just decides to pull to the side, make it hassle-free for his teammate and allow him to continue on the way. So it looks like Palmer just settling in behind Shepherd, trying to maybe get towed around the track a little bit, try and recover something. Campbell just putting a lap down on Costarock in 10th place at the moment. Teammate O'Shea just a little over a second back now. Also putting a lap down on Costarock, so the Intercontinental Esports Group driver is sitting inside top 10 at the moment. Of course, a beneficiary of Palmer's incident. It looks like it's taken him to the pits. Trappett now only 1.7 back, 1.8. Certainly turned up the pressure a little bit in these last few laps. With these drivers heading towards lap 20 now, start to think whether maybe the hard tyre could be a possibility here. As Trappett just loses a little bit of time negotiating Costarock through these turns 4 and 5 sections. Be hoping to quickly claw some time back. So Pitasso just dropping off of the back of Trappett at the moment. And Pitasso diving for pit lane. So he's had enough of those medium tyres. And he'll be the first of the front runners to jump to the pits. for the opening pit stop of the race. Trappett now sitting 13 seconds back of Trappett on the run for a podium spot. Tasso back out on track. Let's see what tyres he's gone with. Appears to have gone with another set of mediums, so looks like the medium soft option is on the cards. Campbell's still leading the way by a second over O'Shea. And then Trappett another 2 seconds back. So certainly very interesting battle playing out at the moment. You'd say that the CP Motorsports team probably hold the cards at the moment. They've got the top 2 cars in contention. One of them could possibly cover off a undercut from Trappett. Von Duve now into the pits. He's gone longer than what Patasso did on the medium tyres. So Von Duve getting more tyre life out of the softs. Patasso probably struggling a bit, being one of the controller users out on the track. Certainly struggles with front tyre wear. And a track like Catalunya with a lot of long sweeping bends certainly taking its toll on tyres, especially on the right hand side. So Harcourt up in the 7th place. Looks like Harcourt's had a recent pit stop. Likewise with Walker. Costa Rock in 9th. Palmer already up in the 10th. O'Shea and Trappett into the pits. So Shea back out, looks like he is on the mediums as well. Same with Trappett. Shepherd 17 seconds off the lead now. I'd imagine that Shepherd and Campbell will be heading towards the pits very soon. As Campbell dives towards pit lane. Shepherd also heading into the pit, saddle release. Palmer, I think Palmer will regain the lead lap through the pit stops. He'll only just be on the lead lap though. Now how's the undercut work? Has O'Shea managed to gain some time here? No, he hasn't. So the positions remain the same. Could be a tyre temperature thing. That extra lap may have worked as a bit of an overcut. And then the undercut benefits mainly coming from Campbell getting his tyres up to temperature next time around. So we've got a nice little battle shaping up here between Campbell, O'Shea and Trappett. The top three drivers all certainly in contention for the win. And then a little bit further back, Patasso still not out of the fight just yet. But certainly only just hanging in there for the moment. And then we have Shepherd rounding out the top 5 for now. And Von Duve in 6th. Palmer sitting in 7th. So he's just sitting on the lead lap. Probably one of the last cars at the moment, I'd say. There's Hardcore in 8th place. Just splitting the two MSR cars. And we have Costa Rock in 9th and Walker in 10th. So I believe all 7 teams represented in the top 10. So Campbell at the moment just extending that gap over O'Shea as the tyres come up to temperature. O'Shea now just losing a little bit of time there to Trappett. Wonder if this is a moment where Trappett maybe thinks about trying to make a move here, try and gain a position on O'Shea. O'Shea doing a great job essentially playing a rear gunner here for Campbell. Certainly placing CP Motorsports in a great position to take the win here tonight. So Trappett just crossing the line, sets a new fastest lap. So time's looking very closely matched between all 3 drivers. Campbell just losing a bit of time that time around. The battle of front remaining tight. Certainly be unsure how this one will finish up. Certainly have a bit of curiosity, yes. So Palmer is actually on the soft tyres. Probably an effort to try and regain some track position along the way and be on a bit of a recovery drive. Could result in an extra pit stop somewhere along the line. Could also be a bit of an alternative strategy. Get that soft tyre stint out the way and then jump back onto the mediums for the end of the race. There's just 6/10 between Campbell and O'Shea. Looks like Campbell might have been held up a little bit in lapping Oldman. The gap now just down to 4/10 of a second. So looks like negotiating the lap cars could have been a bit costly. Let's just have a quick look at the replay. Didn't quite catch far enough back, so we'll head back into the action. So less than a second between the two CP Motorsports cars. Gap back out to 2 seconds though between O'Shea and Trappett. Do wonder if maybe Trappett just maybe having some heating issues with the tyres on his car. It seems to sort of put in some fast laps and then just drops off a little bit. It's almost like he could be overheating the tyres a little bit. Just needs to cool them off a bit and try and preserve them a little to go to distance. So the gap is back at 1.2 seconds between Campbell and O'Shea. Both drivers sort of been hovering in that sort of 1 to 1.5 second margin. O'Shea just seems to be content just to sit back there and stay behind his teammate. Hasn't really made much of a push towards taking the lead. So we're a bit over halfway in this race. 27 laps down. 26 left to go. Let's get right on board with Campbell and take a lap around Catalunya. So a quick on-board lap there with our current race leader, Campbell, in the number 12 CP Motorsports Honda engine Dallara chassis. His gap just dropped a bit underneath a second between himself and O'Shea. And I just noticed that Shepherd put in the fastest lap last time. Well, not sure if it's last time around or just recently. We'll just have a bit of a look. Gap 10 seconds between him and Patasso for 4th place. And then 27 seconds further back to Von Duve. Shepherd. Running with those medium tyres for now. Just makes a move there on Oldman to put Oldman a lap down. He'll be off again on his way. Very much used a lot of overtake in the process of doing that. So it could be a bit of a glory lap, maybe to try and get some distance. But I would certainly imagine, yeah, Pitasso's got a bit more overtake up his sleeve. Palmer looks to be a lap down again. So Palmer, yeah, those soft tyres are definitely screaming enough. Probably looking to get to the lap 30 mark, maybe just recover the race a bit. I think with a lighter fuel load, he probably could get away with the medium tyres towards the end. Certainly the front runners were pushing towards lap 20 on a full load of fuel. Could certainly see the possibility of a driver putting those mediums on, maybe stretching an extra 4 or 5 laps out of them with a lighter car underneath them. Looks like Trappett has dropped off the back of O'Shea there a bit. Gap sort of out to 2.5 seconds. O'Shea certainly keeping that 1 second mark. Campbell, no overtake use so far. I think he's led basically the entire way to this point, maybe minus a lap or two. So he hasn't been able to take the opportunity to use the overtake so far in this race. As he comes across the line, stretches that margin out to 1.4 seconds this time around. Palmer finally jumping into the pits. I think he's finally reached that point where he's ready to take that pit stop and get to the end of the race. Some unusual attire there. I imagine that must be one of our higher ups in the It's Racing team, wearing a headset overlooking the action. Imagine the race engineer's probably sitting on the pit wall at the moment. So Palmer heads back out onto the track in 10th place. Ando back up to 8th at the moment. He's been running some consistent laps. Probably going to get himself inside the top 10, I would say, depending on how all the pit strategies shake out in the end. But certainly a nice recovery drive so far from the WTC racing driver. He's just on the tail of Costa Rock for 7th place. So it looks like Burke gets out of the way there. As he get laps again. Old man also getting out of the way. Ando gets a run now and Costa Rock heads to the outside as Costa Rock goes on the defensive, but the defensive line really maybe slightly holding the progress of Ando, and he completes what was inevitable by the looks of things. Moves up into 7th place. Of course, it'll be interesting to see what kind of strategies each driver's on. Rock is on some medium tyres. Imagine both need to complete a pit stop, so probably say to Ando, probably looking in the better position there for 7th place. Palmer in for another stint on the softs. Certainly an interesting call there. The medium's working really well as a tyre. Palmer must know something from testing that maybe no one else does, or at least this commentator doesn't know. Head back towards the front. Campbell still leading the way. 34 laps into the Spanish Grand Prix. Looks like both cars run a bit wide there. I'm not sure if it's just a bit of glitching going on. Certainly seems to be a lot of that happening tonight. Trappett making a little bit of inroads there. Then the gap just fluctuates out a bit. Back out to about 2.3 seconds. Certainly looks like at this point that the CP Motorsports drivers seem to be well in control of this race. The gap from Trappett just fluctuating a fair bit. That said, Trappett does have a lot of overtake at his disposal, so he could get a bit closer to the end of a race, bolt on a set of softs, maybe go nuts with that overtake. Try and push his way into the lead. Certainly with O'Shea and Campbell having that overtake at the disposal, you could say that they could be setting themselves up to make a fight of this race. Trappett just walked there a little bit by Oldman coming out of the pits. Just cost him a few tenths there. Campbell just getting held up a little bit there by Calypso. So as they negotiate that 5, 6, 7, 8 section of the track. Campbell finally getting ahead. Oh, it looks like Campbell's slowed up a bit there. O'Shea's run a bit wide. And now Trappett closing up on the back of O'Shea. This could be the opportunity that Trappett needs and just sort of split those CP Motorsports cars a bit. Let's see, does Trappett go? He goes for the overtake. He certainly has his sights set on taking second place in this race. Uses a little bit to try and get himself ahead, but doesn't quite have enough pace over O'Shea to try and get in the second. quite the possibility that O'Shea could have used that overtake as a bit of a defensive mechanism. Looks like Trappett now just settling back in. Getting that gap out to about a second again. Maybe just going on a bit of a tyre conservation. Making sure those tyres don't get all used up earlier than they need. Feel just look to be closing in again a little bit. So I think that's Walker there. Gets extremely close there. It's coming out into the path of O'Shea. O'Shea on the overtake again. Certainly looks to be a bit concerned about the threat from behind from Trappett. Certainly try and keep an eye on these guys on the screen. We just might jump around a bit. Have a look down the order, see where everyone's sitting at the moment. Patasso in 4th place. Bit of a lonesome drive there. Well, he could be coming under threat from Shepherd. There's a gap now nearly dropping down below 7 seconds. So Shepherd in 5th place, Wanduve in 6th. Palmer now up to 7th. Ahead of Costarock. Costarock sitting in 8th. Hardcourt just moving ahead of Ando in the pits. Ando coming out of the pits after another pit stop. You'd suggest that that would be the final one in the race, as O'Shea and Trappett now head into the pits. So Ando out on soft tyres. Walker in 11th. Calypso in 12th. Oldman in 13th. And then Burke rounding out the field in 14th. So Campbell from Patasso and Shepherd now. So it looks like the last round of pit stops about to take place here. Patasso looks to be aiming to do a bit longer than the other drivers around him. Maybe knows he doesn't have the tyre life in him to get to the end, and as a result just choosing to extend his stint on the medium tyres, try and get as little time as possible on the softs, try and put some representative laps out on the board. But with that in mind, he is definitely coming under threat here from Shepherd, who just a couple of laps ago was only about 7.5 seconds back, and it's now closing to 4.5 seconds. Our race leader Campbell now jumping into the pits for what would be his final pit stop, I believe. Patasso now sweeping around to take the race lead. Shepherd follows through into 2nd. So Campbell completing his final stop. Where does Campbell come out in relation to O'Shea? Only half a second between the two. This could get interesting here, as O'Shea definitely gaining some ground over Campbell that last time around. Campbell on the overtake, sitting in 3rd place. He can do that this time around, and he's certainly going to try and make the most of it while he can, as he's got ambitions of being in the lead once these pit stops cycle through. He's certainly got every intention of using that overtake to build that gap over O'Shea. As now O'Shea coming under a bit of pressure here from Trappett. Tasso into the pits from the lead now. And that hands the race lead over to Shepherd. Yellow flag. Who is that? Was Walker. Let's see if we can get a replay as he comes through the final corners. Just pushing a bit too hard through that final corner. And loses control of the car. So Shepherd leading the way at the moment, 7.2 seconds. Still needs to make another pit stop. Campbell now out to 1.1 second lead over O'Shea. And so in an adjusted order that Campbell will become the race leader, followed by O'Shea and Trappett. Shepherd now jumping to the pits from the lead. So definitely a 3-horse race at the moment. The CP Motorsports cars bring a double-pronged attack as they look to claim victory. Just car off the track. Let's see if we can get a replay of that one. Looks like Oldman probably just did that on his own. Yeah, it looks like he's just run wide all by himself. So about 5.5 second gap between Pitasso and Shepherd. Pitasso got a bit of overtake to use. Shepherd has exhausted his allocation. Tyre wear could become a factor though for Pitasso. Shepherd sitting in a comfortable 5th place at the moment. Followed by Von Duve, Endo, Harcourt and then Palmer. So Palmer looks to have gone with the medium soft option of the strategy. So Palmer getting the move done on Harcourt, up in 8th place. Next question will be, can he make up 11 seconds on Ando in what is essentially the final 10 laps of the race? 10, 11 laps. Ando looks to be a lap down on Von Duve. Or close to it at least. What is the tyre life for Ando? Ando has had a few less laps, a few more laps on these tyres than what Palmer has. And Pitasso has, yes, he's had a bit of a mishap by the looks of things. He's dropped down to 5th. I didn't catch the replay, completely missed it on the track map. But Pitasso now down to 5th place, handing 4th over to Shepherd. So just when we thought that maybe it was locked in with Trappett in 5th and Pitasso in 4th, it looks to be a bit of a mistake here from Pitasso. Has handed 4th place over to Trappett for the moment. Of course, there's still 10 laps to go. And the gap is only 4 seconds between the two drivers. And with some overtake in hand from Pitasso, he'll be eager to close that gap up, try and reclaim 4th place in this race. So Trappett still sitting 1.2 back from O'Shea. Does he have anything up his sleeve for O'Shea and Campbell in these closing laps? As we cross over into 9 laps to go, now into single figures left in this race. Certainly Trappett looks to be pushing hard here. He's got a lot of overtake left. He's certainly made a big push towards closing that gap in this time around. Gap is now underneath a second. But the dirty air just really getting to him here through turns 1, 2 and 3. He's just dropped 1.4 back. O'Shea looks to be making a bit of a push of his own to take the lead. I guess the other question here, can anyone get close enough to each other to make the overtake be effective? There's a gap just dropped the 0.4 there between Campbell and O'Shea. Just going to quickly jump on board, probably go back with Trappett there quickly. It looks like O'Shea just closing in to the lead. Campbell instantly going for the inside line down the main straight. Moves back across to take the racing line. But the gaps still remain around a second. It's about 4 seconds of gap between Trappett and Pitasso in the battle for 4th. Trappett, lap 44, fastest lap of the race. He got that opportunity to claim 4th and it looks like he's really wanting to hang on to it. Pitasso sitting in 5th now. And then it's Von Duve in 6th place. Almost a lap ahead of Palmer in 8th. Gap is 17 seconds between Endo and Palmer. So it looks like Palmer might have made a mistake somewhere. I'd say lap 40, 41 seems to be where it points to. So Trappett just dropping off a bit from O'Shea. Gap still a second between these two. Looks like the pressure is starting to ramp up between O'Shea and Campbell. Has Campbell been balked there a little bit? I think he has, by one of the lap cars. This could be an opening for O'Shea. There's a 12th place car, just comes back on the track a little bit. The gap's down to 0.3 of a second between O'Shea and Campbell. O'Shea has the overtake at his disposal. Makes a run down the main straight, but doesn't look like to be following through with it. So the gap sticks at half a second, and probably going to get back to a second gap. It's probably going to bring Trappett into play a little bit here. There's definitely a very curious situation. Oh, there's contact between Calypso and O'Shea. As O'Shea tried to make a move to put Calypso a lap down, and they run side by side through turns 7 and 8. Trappett has got himself into second place. With 5 laps to go, no more safety cars left in this race. And suddenly the crucial move here for Trappett. He's now split the duo from CP Motorsports. And now the question will be, can he pull in 2.5 seconds in these closing laps? Use that overtake and try and take the win. So we've now crossed over 4 laps to go. Bonduve going a lap down, so only the top 5 remain on the lead lap in this one. Bonduve just moving out the way of the 2nd and 3rd place cars. That has cost Trappett just a little bit of time though. I think that's going to help resolve the battle in favour of Campbell. Certainly a lot of ground to be made up from Trappett, sorry, if he wants to overtake Campbell and win this race. That said, half a second through the last few corners. Certainly don't think we'll be taking our eyes away from this battle here in the closing laps. Three laps to go. 1.5 gap between Campbell and Trappett. Trappett is making up a huge amount of time here. Second, 8 tenths. Campbell does have slightly more fuel than Trappett, so you would assume that Campbell shouldn't have some fuel concerns, because if he does, then Trappett is even more at danger of running out. But Trappett very much closed that gap in the last lap. Taken well over a second out. And now it's half a second between the two drivers. Trappett on the overtake, trying to take the lead from Campbell, moves to the outside into turn 1. Trappett gets the job done, 2 laps to go, and he's the new race leader. So Trappett sitting in third all race long, and only in the last 5 to 10 laps has he made his move towards the front, and now takes the race lead from Campbell, who has led all race long. But the question remains, has Trappett made his move too soon? As Campbell now, knowing he's got every opportunity to use this overtake, burns it down the back straight towards turn 10. And the first 3 cars covered by 1.1 seconds heading into this final lap. Don't go anywhere in this final 2 minutes. Is this going to be a thrilling conclusion? Last lap of the race, Campbell on the overtake, gets the run on Trappett. Campbell and Trappett side by side into turn 1 and 2. And Campbell back into the lead. Campbell looks to be a little bit balked there by Palmer. Palmer gets out of the way now. Didn't really want to get involved in that battle. Bit of a wide exit there from Campbell out of turn 8. Bit wide again there. Trappett will really need to make his move here. Can't get the job done. Just a few more corners remaining. Could very much throw a blanket over these 3 drivers for the entire 53 laps. But at the end of it all, Campbell comes around the final corner. No, Campbell's run wide on the final corner. Trappett has gone through to take the win. Incredible scenes here. Unbelievable. Here I was about to talk up Campbell taking the win, and he's run wide on the final corner and gifted the win to Trappett. Trappett takes the win here at Catalunya in the Spanish Grand Prix. With a move on the final corner. A mistake coming from Campbell. O'Shea claims second for CP Motorsports. Campbell, unfortunately, is going to have to take third place out of that. He led all race, reclaimed the lead on the final lap, and a mistake on the final corner just cost him his first win in the Formula Trackstar Series. He'll have to settle for a podium this time around though. Shepherd across the line in 4th. Patasso in 5th. Von Duve in 6th. Ando in 7th. Be Costa Rock across the line in 8th place. Palmer in 9th. Harcourt rounding out the top 10. And then Walker 11th, Calypso 12th, Oldman 13th. Burke a retirement in 14th place. And then our safety car driver Lansdale just throwing a few drifts in there for good measure. But wow, what a race. Trappett certainly playing his cards to perfection. Well, not quite to perfection. He left himself a lap too early. Allowed Campbell back in the race, but man, that was basically some J.R. Hildebrand at the 2011 Indianapolis 500 stuff there. There's Trappett with his Patrick Star decal on the back of the race suit. And I don't think we quite got a shot of Neil on the helmet. Of course, Neil, the Trackstar's mascot, Can't forget to give him a quick mention. So there we have it, the results from tonight's race. Round 5 of the 2023 Formula Trackstar Series, the Spanish Grand Prix here at Catalunya. And it's Trappett stealing the win over the line. Over O'Shea in second, Campbell rounding out the podium. And it's Shepherd in fourth, Patasso fifth, rounding out the top 5, Von Duve 6th, 7th for Ando, so 6th and 7th for the WTC Racing crew. 2nd and 3rd for CP Motorsports. 8th for Costa Rock. And I believe the only team that missed out on the top 10 was the WRT Motorsports squad, with Walker just missing out in 11th, Palmer in 9th, and Harcourt rounding out the top 10. And then of course back to Walker, then Calypso, Ullman, and then Burke, who was in the pits at the end of the race. So there you have it. A thrilling conclusion to that race. Certainly edge of your seat stuff and an unexpected result right at the end. Certainly a great race to follow along tonight. And certainly hope everyone tuning along enjoyed that. I believe next week we do head across to, I believe it's Monza for round number 6. And of course we will be joined at that event by the Formula 2 series, as the Formula 3 Championship will have a week off. So from myself, Jarman Dalitz, and the rest of the team at Trackstars, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next time around when we rejoin you for the next round of the Formula